What's going on, everyone? This is Zach with Strictly Shisha, and today I'm reviewing the gorgeous, the beautiful Aviator hose by Art Hookah. And this hose is available from a variety of vendors: Hookah-Shisha, Hookah John, 5starhookah.com, even the new ones I talked about in the last video, Hookah Heroes. But it's out of stock on a lot of those sites because it's gaining popularity so quick, and rightfully so. This is a nice hose. This hose retails for $49.99 at most of those vendors, but it's currently in stock at 5starhookah.com. So after you watch this video and you want one, definitely check out 5star. When I saw that $50 price tag, I was like, wow, does any hose warrant $50? I've always been happy with my cheap Thunder hoses for like 10 bucks. They've always served their purpose. But after I bought that Aviator hookah, Art Hookah actually sent this out to me to match my hookah, and I'm very thankful they did. This is the nicest hose I've ever smoked out of. It is gorgeous, it performs well, and I love pretty much everything about it. So the hose itself, the handle, is 10.5 inches long. It is made from aircraft grade aluminum, just like the stem. And the anodization on this is also perfect. It's smooth, it's flawless, it's very high quality, and it's super light. This doesn't feel like I'm holding anything. Unlike the D-hose handle that's kind of cumbersome and heavy, this is nice and light, easy to pass to friends, and easy to hold for long periods of time. It does come apart, it unscrews, so you guys can actually clean it out and not have all sorts of bacteria building up inside, which is great. I like that you can clean this out, but it's also useful for putting in the included ice tip. Now personally, I've never been a fan of ice tips. I think they're just kind of silly, and this one only lasts about 30 minutes because it's so small. But I do like that it's built in. It's not large and obtrusive. You don't have things like poking out the sides and looking silly. This is nice and streamlined, built into the hose, and it doesn't add a lot of restriction to it because it is blocking the channel, right? There's not much restriction added when you put this ice tip in here, and it does serve its purpose. When you take a hit of a warm bowl, which mine's not warm, I pack good bowls, but let's say you packed a warm bowl and you need something to mellow it out, or you have some girls with you and they just want to feel something cool. This does do that, but it doesn't last as long as I would like, so I'm personally not going to use the ice tip. My favorite part of this hose though is the actual hose itself. It's so flexible and malleable, and it's so smooth. It has like this velvety finish to the silicone. It doesn't snag on random things, like odd places that you'd be worried about. The tubing on this is my favorite part. It's actually made from medical grade silicone, and they use some sort of technical process to combine this with vinyl. And that makes this hose extra strong, durable, and also has this really nice finish to it. And this hose has been tested out for a long time in the Art Hookah lounges, and they need something to save them money and not replace their hoses very often because they turn a lot of customers, and these things go through a lot of wear and tear. And they think that this hose can hold up to the test of time, and so far in all my testing it has. I love this hose. And because it is so malleable, in comparison to the D-hose especially, it doesn't have that rubbery silicone, which is my least favorite part of the D-hose. It does kink a little bit easier. So they have included this anti-kink spring that attaches to the end of it. It looks kind of silly, but it definitely helps the session out a lot, especially if you're using a vertical hose port like in these Starbuzz made in America. You don't have to worry about kinking at all. So the draw on this wonderful hose, I wouldn't consider this the most open at all. It's nothing like a Starbuzz Maximus or even a Thunder hose. It's more of a medium draw, so there is a tad bit of restriction, but it's a very enjoyable restriction. I prefer to pair this hose with wide open hookahs like a Regal or a Starbuzz, or even this silly Phantom hookah that I'm smoking out of. By the way, this thing rips, it's phenomenal. It is a little poor quality, but I'll get into that in another review. When I paired this with the Prometheus, I found it to be a little more restricted than I would like, but pairing with hookahs like this that are nice and wide open, something about it is just so smooth. Although it has just a little bit of restriction, I don't mind it at all, and I really love smoking out of this hose. If you want to compare this to other hoses on the market, it's just a tiny bit smaller than the D hose, and just a little bit smaller than the Thunder hose. So it's gonna be on the smaller spectrum of those hoses, but the draw is still very nice. And although I wish it was a little bit larger, the quality on this definitely makes this thing worth it. So as you can see, this Phantom Hookah is really small and nice and light. Okay, nice is a little generous, it's not that nice, but it is very light. So when I use the D hose with this hookah, I'm really worried about wobbling it and pulling it over. Because the Aviator hose is very malleable and it's very light in general, I feel very comfortable smoking with this hookah. And this pairing, by the way, is phenomenal. I love the draw on this, and the performance is equally as good. And if you guys are wondering what I'm smoking out of, I'm smoking out of an oboe from Oxide Hookah with an Ottoman Ignis, and I'm smoking a wonderful combination of Trifecta Pulp Friction with a little bit of Fumari Island Papaya and just a pinch of Whattamint. And I've always talked about how Island Papaya needs something to go with it. It could be a potentially great mixer, and today I found that with Pulp Friction, this is a marriage made in heaven. I'm loving this, and smoking out of this hose makes it even better. But Pulp Friction tends to be a very potent flavor, and I've never thought a hose was unghostable, or most hoses are pretty much as ghostable as other hoses, but I've noticed with this hose, it ghosts very minimally. I mean, like, very minimally. I can go from smoking a bowl of lavender mint, or even double apple, or even alfalfa grapefruit, and going to another flavor on the opposite spectrum, and I can't even taste it. It's crazy. But if you happen to get some ghosting issues, you can wash it out or take it apart and give this thing a deep clean. I have not washed it out yet, and I can't taste anything from any previous sessions, so I really love that about this hose. By the way, the total length on this hose is about 84 inches long, so for me this is perfect for a solo session, but you can pass it to friends if you're interested, but I'd rather hog the hose and smoke all the 84 inches by myself. But in general, when I saw this hose listed at 50 bucks, I was like, I'm never gonna buy that. Even my friend Muhammad was like, should I get an Aviator hose? And I was like, no, 50 bucks is not worth it. But now that I have this hose in my hand, I've smoked out of it, I felt the quality, I put it through thorough testing. This hose has definitely changed my mind and the quality of hoses I should be smoking out of. This is the best hose I could ever recommend to anyone, even comparing this to the Carbon 1 hose. I think this hose is better than the Carbon 1 hose. I think this hose will last you a lot longer than Carbon 1 hose too. So this is a hose I would recommend to you guys to pair with your beautiful setups, your Regals, your Prometheuses, all the top hookahs on the market. This hose will definitely complement them aesthetically and quality-wise. Comes in a variety of colors. This beautiful blue here matches the Aviator color that I have. Also comes in black and red. It's very versatile. I mean, you can pair this with your KM or any hookah on the market, and you will definitely enjoy using this if you don't mind a little bit of restriction. But thank you guys always for watching. I know this is very different for me, Cheap Zach, to review a $50 hose, but I'm telling you, this thing is fantastic. I'll see you guys on the next review, and thank you guys as always. Bye guys.